Welcome. In front of me I have the POCO F8 Ultra, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, my general opinions, and also give you a little bit of a kind of comparison to some other devices at most likely similar price ranges. So anyway, let's get to it. I do need a knife though. There we go. Okay, let's pop it open. Oh, never figured out which side is the top, which one is the bottom here, but anyway. That's a thick box right here. Holding basically nothing. Cool. So we got our charging cable, by the way, type A to type C, our energy rating sticker for apparently 67 hours, and then we get the case itself. And moving on, we have our phone at the bottom right here. Some information's written on here, and a pretty interesting looking bag. This is rubber, by the way, but you could confuse this with denim. And I don't mean the crappy streamer. Anyway, let's put it up. Now I want to point out one more thing. The sound by Bose. I love how it's literally right next to the cameras, like they have something to do with them. Typically when you have a phone that is in collaboration with some, like for instance Bang & Olufsen or whatever, this shit ain't plastered in the most obnoxious place possible, and usually this place would be designed for, I don't know, Hasselblad or some other places. It's literally right next to the cameras, while for instance Bang & Olufsen usually you would see somewhere right freaking here. But no, Bose wanted it, I guess, right next to the camera, so you can know that the cameras right next to them, that's Bose. Yeah. Funny enough, we have a couple of circles, just like Audi. So Audi comes with sound by Bose, and here we have another 4 zeros added to it. Anyway, let's quickly go to the setup. I do want to put this phone to the test, just to see how it sounds. The sound by Bose. I do want to give it just a check if this is marketing bullshit or something that you can actually hear. Something tells me that it's not going to be anything that I can hear, but I could be wrong. Now, I want to say, I did already unbox the Pro version instead of the Ultra. And hey, look at that, we have sound by Bose. Guess how much that means? This much. It's absolutely freaking pointless. The phone sounds worse than a phone that isn't branded by a sound by Bose. Which for the Pro version of this phone, it's just a marketing bullshit to make it seem like it's better. And hey, guess what? The price needed to be increased because of that, because they are not putting the sound by Bose there for free, and they're not going to be the ones paying for it. So there are actually better options than the POCO, at least the Pro version of it. This one, on the other hand side, is a little bit more premium. So also the speaker design right here, at least I think that's a speaker, looks a little bit different compared to the Pro. Because we do have like a perforation right here, like this is also a speaker, would lead me to believe, but hey, we're gonna finish this damn setup any moment now and I can check it out. Come on. There we go. Still preparing, cool. There we go. The hell is YouTube? Oh, there we go. Don't allow, we don't need that crap. Reject. Please don't.
Unlock your stay for less with app-exclusive prices. Download the free Booking.com app today.
Okay, okay. This actually automatically already sounded better. Like, noticeably better, but let's just... Okay, this here sounds mid. Oops. Oh, okay, YouTube just closed for no reason. Oh, and it disappeared, and it's back. Okay, cool. Anyway, sound a bit better. For a phone that is supposedly branded by Bose, this sounds absolutely like ass, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know if this is just my bias, I haven't heard this in a while, but I used to have a Fold 4 from Samsung, and that device had pretty stellar sound system. And something about it just makes me feel like it either was better or about the same on a phone that was much thinner and not branded by Bose. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. I don't have it anymore to even check it out and give you a comparison, but considering this is supposedly, you know, sound by Bose, it sounds sound by trash more like, because it's really not giving you the typical kind of like deep bass that you would expect, and yeah, this kind of very appealing sound profile that they have. So it just sounds like a improved phone speaker, and there are other devices that have improved speakers that are gonna sound better than this, and they didn't need to smack the sound by Bose to get that. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of get that out of the way, because it's literally something that is on the box, marketed. So I just wanted to see how much of a difference it does. And for the Pro, it does nothing. For this one, it does something, but there are other devices that achieve the same thing without it. So without the branding, meaning. So anyway, let's now talk about the display. It's something that you're gonna be literally just caressing for 99% of the time. So let's see how well that does. It's a AMOLED display at 6.9 inches in size, nice, 1200 by 2600 pixels, so it's a pretty sharp display, 68 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate with a 2560 Hz pull rate, meaning that the screen is super snappy to your finger like inputs. So when you swipe, that's how many times it refreshes to check where your finger is on the screen to match the display with that. And we have Dolby Vision support, HDR10 Plus, and a peak brightness of 3500 nits. All these specifications right here, top of the line basically. Now I do want to point out something. Even though it's top of the line right here, I started seeing this in more devices, and I just wanted to kind of talk about this, because I have a feeling that there's just a bit of a kind of more nefarious thing happening from Dolby. So Dolby Vision has existed for some time, like decent amount of time already. I mean, shit, we have HDR. Since HDR existed, we had Dolby Vision, I'm pretty sure. Till this year, actually like till half a year ago of 2025, I haven't seen any phone with Dolby Vision. And now every phone has it basically. So this is kind of odd to me, and it's cool that it exists, but the way Dolby Vision works is less appealing. So Dolby Vision, or Dolby as a company, has basically, let's just call it a trademark, or however you want to classify this, for their own tech called the Vision, right? Just like they have also for Dolby Atmos. And for Dolby Vision, if you sell a phone that has it like this one, Dolby takes a cut. If you create a movie that is recorded in Dolby Vision, Dolby takes a cut. If you sell these movies, Dolby takes a cut. If you sell Blu-ray players so you can play this movie on that you bought, Dolby takes a cut. Now that's a lot of bullshit happening here, where at every step Dolby takes a fucking cut. For what? You literally copied or doing the same thing as HDR, but you want money for it. Well, HDR is from what I remember, a kind of free open source thing. So what I think is happening is that Dolby either reduced the prices or completely removed them, and this is just purely speculative, because they have created a sequel to Seeing called Dolby Vision 2. Apparently the first thing we were seeing was inaccurate, so we're going to be seeing it better now. And guess how we're going to be doing that? If you first thing that came to your head was AI, you would be freaking correct. Because apparently, when you want money for something that's supposed to be mastered, content supposed to be mastered in specific format, like Dolby Vision, AI is going to master it for us. Something that hallucinates answers 55% of the time is going to do it better than a person that is supposed to do that and get paid for it. Yeah, how about go screw yourself, Dolby? So anyway, I just wanted to kind of point that out because I find this to be most likely a push into Dolby Vision 2 to get people on board with it, but there's not much content with it, and it does basically the same thing as HDR, though HDR is way more commonly known and available and basically for most content. So it's better. There is a subtle difference between both of these, Dolby Vision and HDR, and Dolby Vision is a little bit more colorful from what I could tell, though I have never tested it out myself. I could never be effed with to even like try to get this to work. And when trying to watch movies to my computer, a player that is able to decode Dolby Vision would need to pay royalties to Dolby, so for every download. Obviously that's no bueno for any player. And I sure as shit ain't gonna be buying a Blu-ray, there we go, that's what I meant to say, player, so I can test it out. So yeah, I much rather prefer to use HDR and not really care too much about it. And for people that also aren't kind of like into this or haven't ever tested it out, there is a little bit of a difference in brightness and all that, but if you're a typical kind of casual movie viewer and stuff like that, I could probably show you all three, standard movie in HDR and in Dolby Vision, and if I separate them by like a minute in time, so you can't really see them literally side by side, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So take that as you may. So a Dolby Vision right here is just an absolute marketing gimmick and probably a push for the Dolby Vision 2, so people can be like, oh yeah, that's the next best thing after sliced toast. And I think that's the only reason why it's here and starting to be on phones, considering it's literally being subsidized nowadays. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Let's now move to the cameras. So let me just flip this over to the fake denim back right here, and we have a triple camera setup. Wait, is that even a triple camera? This looks absolutely pathetic right here. What the hell is this? So we have a 50, actually all of them appear to be 50 megapixel sensors. So we have 50 megapixel wide, periscope telephoto, and ultra wide. Now I can record videos up to 8K at 30 frames and 4K up to 60. With slow motion at 1080p up to 960 frames with only HDR 10 plus. Okay, that was a choice, I guess. Recording in Dolby Vision, even though the phone can play it, I guess that just kind of went out the window. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Let's move over to the selfie camera, and that is a hole punch right here, which you can see, and that houses a 32 megapixel wide sensor that does 4K 30 and 1080p 60. Again, nothing really special happening right here, to be completely honest. Now, in this phone, we have at least something special happening. So, number one, the battery, 6,500 milliamps, 50 watts wireless charging. and 100 watts wired charging. The phone is still relatively slim, and that's because it's using a silicon carbon battery. So it allows it to have basically the same kind of size as a just footprint, while packing more charge into it. And that's why you started seeing phones, as long as you're not looking at Samsung like this, you started seeing phones that are this size, and instead of having like below 4,000 milliamps, they now have like 6,000. For instance, like the Vivo. So yeah, when you're not Samsung, you can actually do good things for the market. And here we have the 6,500 milliamps, meaning that your phone actually has a decent battery and can also be charged really fast. Now, another standout feature right here is going to be the processor powering this device. It's a new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Wasn't that just 8 Gen 5 nowadays? Whatever. So yeah, it's basically the newest processor from Snapdragon, one of the most powerful processors on the market, and it's a really good one. So you get nowadays so much power in your phone that it's actually kind of stupid. I'm not gonna lie. The amount of raw performance these devices can output is moronic at this point. Mid-range phones nowadays basically run for typical phone tasks as fast as these processors, and you won't really tell the difference unless you're literally counting frames. So these phones have so much power that they literally can compete with laptops. Like this phone, just to put in perspective, this phone, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong though, has a better performance in graphical and just processor performance than a Steam Deck, which is more like a computer. These phones can play normal games while still needing to convert them from x64, or like basically from basically Windows to ARM, and they still can run them at normal frame rates. These devices are stupid fast, and this is exceeding the kind of like reason, but this is literally the only thing left for manufacturers to really continuously do, just make them faster and try to improve cameras. Cameras have, in my opinion, started downgrading now because most phones start to use AI to improve their photos, and it just doesn't sit right with me that whatever you're taking without your kind of input is being improved with AI. So you don't actually have a photo that you captured, you have one that is remade by AI to mimic what you have captured. I don't like it. I would like to have my photos be captured by me and not touched by some bullshit algorithm. But nowadays, if you want that, you need to literally buy a DSLR. So, great processor, way more than you ever need on a phone. And another thing is that you probably have way more than you need on the phone is the RAM in here. So the base entry of this device comes with 256 gigs of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. Now, what I would like to see is half a terabyte at base entry, to be honest, at a flagship phone. And the second option is 512 gigs of storage with 16 gigs of RAM. So Xiaomi decided to do the typical bullshit switcheroo. Hey, you need more than 256 gigs of storage to store your 8K videos. Yeah, that's gonna cost you more because we also improved the RAM from 12 to 16. Hey, you didn't need 12 already? Well, now you got 16 that you also don't need. So yeah, I dislike this because manufacturers put costs like this for RAM and storage at way higher price than they actually sell for. So you're basically paying a premium just so you can have more storage. And then they decided not only do you need to pay premium on that, now you also get to pay premium on the RAM that they automatically increase with storage. And you don't have the option to just get half a terabyte of storage and 12 gigs of RAM, which would have been freaking fantastic. But no. So we get this. Now, one more thing. At the bottom, where we have our SIM tray, you can see it's just a SIM tray. Dual SIM, but no SD card expansion slot. So whatever storage you will need, or however much you will need of it, you better get that right out of the box when you're purchasing this phone, because you're not going to be popping in any SD cards in here. So that's basically all the specifications of this device. It has a great display, good cameras, I would say, and good battery, and just internals generally. These are basically high-end or flagship specifications. Shit, they're better than Samsung, so that's pretty good. And the price of this device is about, what is it, 630 euros or pounds. Let me just quickly check that for dollars so I can actually figure the hell out how much this costs. Ooh, call me interested. Wow. So, wow, okay. So this device, let me just convert this. Costs about 750 United States dollars or freedom dollars. So this is actually at least where I'm from, this phone is nearly at a mid-range price. Now, I was kind of critical to it, and I kind of still am, because this price isn't necessarily that great when you're looking at the Chinese phones. But considering I can get it directly from Xiaomi website at this price is freaking insane. It's basically a mid-range device price with flagship components. Now, would I want this or would I prefer something else? I actually myself would prefer something else over this, like the Vivo, just because it's smaller and packs about the same kind of stuff in there. So as a comparison, the Vivo X300 is the size of the S25 right here. Just as a size comparison, you can see it's a much smaller little fella right here. So the Vivo is going to be basically the same size as this, but come with a Dimensity processor instead of the Snapdragon, which might be a little bit slower, but the cameras will be better. And that's really what I would care about, the improvement in cameras. While, let me just quickly actually check if it's still being sold. So, how much would I need to pay for this? Or is it not sold anymore? Oh, there we go. Guess it's actually a little bit more. Okay, so it is more expensive. By like, what is it? $150 to $200. So it is a bit of a jump. Okay, so never mind. That being said, this phone, for how much it costs, straight up from POCO, or like from Xiaomi website, this is an insane value for money. Holy shit, this is like some of the best value for money I have ever seen. Let me just double check that this is real here if I want to purchase this. Can you take me to it? Okay, the price just jumped up. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's the 16.5 terabyte. And the 12-256 isn't available. Bummer, but they are actually selling it for 2,699 PLN, which is about 750 US dollars. Now the half a terabyte one is gonna cost less than $100 more. So that actually is a absolute banger of a deal. Holy shit. Now, this probably wouldn't be my color to pick, considering the denim kind of look right here, but you do have a black version of this device without this kind of weird fabric right here, or rubber, and that's probably the one that I'll be looking at. And yeah, this is a absolute monster of a device for how little it costs, more like. there is nothing I can think about that I had here that would actually compete with this. So at this price range, you're getting basically the best processor. If you want to splurge out a little bit more for the higher storage, you're still undercutting any kind of flagship phone, while giving half a terabyte and 16 gigabytes of RAM, with a display with all the certifications that you need. And the only thing that it kind of suffers is, like I mentioned, the cameras. The cameras are the downside right here. They're not the best. They could have been much better. For instance, like the Vivo. For $100 more, you could get the Vivo if you wanted to, and that will have definitely better cameras, and everything else will be about the same. But considering this is cheaper, and you don't care to have like the improvement in camera, well, this one still will be good. Just to kind of show you, maybe snap like a couple photos right here. Now this one will be the most garbage photos you will probably see, but should still do a relatively good enough job to kind of just, you know. Alright, I screwed up. Fine, I'm gonna give you the access to literally everything right here. Cool. Can I just like, can I move that to the freaking camera? There we go. So here is the camera performance, and it is very sharp, nicely exposed, not overblown. Let's take a look at the other one. There we go. Yep, looks pretty good. Has a little bit of a weird look to the fake plant kind of leaves. You can see that it's trying to do some kind of AI crap here, right here. They are a bit grainy, but they're grainy because it seems like the camera doesn't know what it's supposed to be exactly. It has a nice bokeh effect, as you can see. So yeah, it's still, for camera, it's still great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of talking about this, that when compared to something else, it might be a little bit less great, but on its own and at the price, everything here is a absolute great value. So yeah, if you're looking for a phone, a stupidly powerful phone, basically mid-range price, by all means go for this one. There is literally nothing that is better than this at this price. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.